The music stopped before I even hit the ground. For a split second, the entire room held its breath, like the universe itself had paused just to watch me fall. I didn't mean to fall. I had imagined this moment 1,000 times, walking gracefully across the polished floor, smiling as guests turned to admire me, not because I was the center of attention, but because I was the mother of the bride. Linda, the woman who had raised Emily, sacrificed everything for her, and finally made it to this day. But instead, my heel caught the edge of the stage. And I went down. Hard. The sharp crack of my knee hitting the floor echoed louder than the music ever had. A glass shattered somewhere. Someone gasped. I felt the burn of pain shoot up my leg, but it was nothing compared to what came next. Silence. Then whispers. I pushed myself up slightly, wincing, waiting, expecting to hear her voice. Mom. That's what I thought she'd say. That's what she used to say. But when I lifted my eyes, searching through the blur of embarrassment and pain, I saw her. Emily. Standing there in her perfect white dress, her makeup flawless, her hair styled like something out of a magazine. She wasn't running toward me. She wasn't even moving. She just stared. And then, almost imperceptibly, she sighed. Sighed. As if I had spilled wine on her carpet. As if I had inconvenienced her. Can someone help her? She said, her voice flat, detached. Her. Not my mom. Not even Mom. Just her. Something inside me cracked, far deeper than my knee ever could. 2 guests rushed forward, helping me to a chair. I murmured thanks, my face burning as I felt dozens, hundreds of eyes on me. The whispers grew louder now, like a swarm of bees. Is she okay? That's the bride's mother. Awkward. I tried to brush it off, to laugh lightly like it didn't matter. But my chest felt tight, and my hands trembled. I looked up again, hoping, just hoping that Emily would come over now that the initial shock had passed. She didn't. Instead, she turned back to her new husband, smiled, and said something that made him chuckle. And just like that, the music started again. The wedding resumed. As if I had never fallen at all. I sat there for what felt like hours, though it was probably only minutes. People came and went, offering polite smiles and half-hearted sympathy, but no one stayed long. No one really cared. Except me. Because this wasn't about the fall. It was about everything that had led up to it. I remember when Emily was 5 years old and scraped her knee at the park. She had run to me, sobbing, her tiny arms wrapping around my legs. Mommy, it hurts. And I had picked her up, kissed her tears away, and told her everything would be okay. I remember when she was 13 and came home crying because her friends had excluded her. I stayed up all night with her, talking, comforting, promising her she would never be alone. I remember when she was 17 and told me she got into college. I cried harder than she did. And I remember every single sacrifice. The extra shifts. The missed vacations. The nights I went to bed hungry so she could have more. I gave her everything. Everything. So when did I become her? Linda. I looked up. It was my sister, Carol, her expression tight with concern. You okay? She asked, sitting beside me. I'm fine, I said automatically, even though my voice sounded distant, like it belonged to someone else. Carol glanced toward the dance floor. She should have come over. I didn't respond. Because if I did, I might start crying. And I refused to cry here, not today. Not at my daughter's wedding. I think I twisted something, I said instead, trying to shift the conversation. Carol frowned. You need ice, I'll get. I said I'm fine, I snapped, a little too sharply. She blinked, surprised. I softened my tone. I just need a minute. Carol nodded slowly. All right, but I'm not leaving you alone for long. As she walked away, I let out a shaky breath. A minute. That's all I needed. Just 1 minute to gather myself. Just Just 1 minute to swallow the lump in my throat. Just 1 minute to push down everything I had been holding back for years. But the thing about buried feelings is they don't stay buried forever. Sometimes, all it takes is a fall to bring them crashing to the surface. The speeches started shortly after. I wasn't supposed to give one. Emily had made that clear weeks ago. "We're keeping it short and modern, Mom," she had said, barely looking up from her phone. "No long, emotional speeches." I had nodded, pretending it didn't sting. Of course, her father, my ex-husband, was given a slot. He stood up now, confident and smiling, raising his glass. "To my beautiful daughter." The crowd quieted, hanging on his every word. I listened as he spoke about pride, about love, about watching Emily grow into the woman she is today. And not once did he mention me. Not the years I spent raising her while he figured himself out. Not the nights I stayed awake worrying. Not the life I built around her. Nothing. But the crowd applauded anyway. Because they didn't know. They didn't see. They didn't live it. I clenched my hands in my lap, my nails digging into my skin. It shouldn't matter, I told myself. It's her day. Let it go. Let it go. Let it. Does anyone else want to say a few words? The host's voice cut through my thoughts. And before I could stop myself, I was standing. "I do." The room turned. Every head. Every eye. Including Emily's. Her expression shifted instantly, from mild interest to alarm. "Mom," she whispered harshly, shaking her head. "No." But it was too late. Because something inside me had already snapped. I walked slowly to the front, my knee protesting with every step. The microphone felt heavy in my hand. For a moment, I just stood there, looking out at the sea of faces. Strangers. Family. People who thought they knew us. Who thought they knew her. Who thought they knew me. I took a deep breath. "I wasn't planning to speak today," I began, my voice steady but quiet. A few people shifted uncomfortably. Emily looked like she wanted to disappear. But then I realized, if I don't say this now, I might never say it at all. The room grew still. "I fell earlier," I continued, glancing down at my bruised knee. "And for a second I thought, she'll come, my daughter will come." I looked up, meeting Emily's eyes. But she didn't. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Emily's face flushed red. "Mom, stop." "No," I said firmly, my voice stronger now. "I've been stopping myself for years." Silence. Heavy. Unavoidable. "I've been quiet when you dismissed me, when you ignored me, when you made me feel like I was too much, or not enough." Tears blurred my vision, but I didn't look away. I told myself it was just a phase, that you were busy, that you'd come back to me eventually. My voice cracked. But standing there on the floor today, I realized something. I paused, swallowing hard. "You already left." The words hung in the air like a storm waiting to break. "I don't know when it happened," I continued softly. "I don't know what I did wrong. Maybe I held on too tight. Maybe I gave too much. Maybe I forgot how to be anything other than your mother." A tear slipped down my cheek. "But I never stopped loving you." The room was completely silent now. No whispers. No movement. Just the sound of my voice, and the truth I had buried for so long. "I'm proud of you, Emily. I always have been, and I always will be." I took a shaky breath. "But I wish, just once, you had been proud of me too." Emily's eyes filled with tears. For the first time that day, she looked like my little girl again. Not the distant bride. Not the cold stranger. Just Emily. "Mom," she whispered. But I wasn't finished. "I didn't come here to ruin your wedding," I said gently. "I came here to celebrate you." I placed the microphone back on the stand. And I still am. For a moment, no one moved. Then slowly, someone started clapping. Then another. and another, until the entire room was filled with applause. But I barely heard it, because all I could see was Emily walking toward me. Not standing, not sighing, walking. Her steps were hesitant at first, then quicker, more urgent. And when she reached me, she didn't stop. She wrapped her arms around me. Tightly, desperately. "I'm sorry," she whispered into my shoulder, her voice breaking. "I'm so sorry, Mom." I closed my eyes, holding her just as tightly. And for the first time in years, it felt like I had my daughter back. Not completely, not perfectly, but enough. Enough to start again.